and welcome to episode 61 of the Graceful Tangle podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that. And don't forget to hit the notification bell right by the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Again, thank you all so much for joining me today. I have so many things to chat about per usual. First off though, if you want some detailed notes about the things that I'm about to talk about in this episode, don't hesitate to click down below in the description box. You will find links to lots of the things I'm about to chat about, all of my social platforms, and a link to the show notes. So that link will direct you to my website where you can kind of see just some basic outline of this episode and what was and is included. I'm going to be referencing them myself, so if I look over to my right here, that is what I'm looking at, but I want to be sure that I don't miss anything because it is a loaded episode. And as I'm looking down at my projects, I'm realizing I forgot to include something in the show notes, so there's a lot of things I could forget, but hopefully I won't do that today. Okay, so I think that is it in terms of the introduction. Oh, well, today is Saturday, July the 10th, so happy July. I can't believe we're already 10 days into it. My brother's birthday is tomorrow, July 11th, so I'm super excited to be here today recording. I knew I wouldn't get a chance tomorrow, and it's going to be a crazy, crazy week, so super excited to be here during this time chatting about all of this making goodness with you all. So without further ado, I have a finished object, so let's talk about that. Okay, so I have one big finished object this week, and that is my Blue Ridge shawl. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I did not anticipate finishing this week, but I don't know, it's just such an amazing pattern. I love it so much. And I decided to just try to finish it, and I did. So I got like all the way to this last big section, and then I was like, okay, we're just gonna have to finish it because I'm thoroughly enjoying it and I want to be able to show it off as a finished object. And here we are, I did it. So here is what it looks like. So this is a pattern by Kay of K Crochets. I almost said the Crazy Sock Lady because they have the same names, and I'm working on projects from both of them right now, but this is Kay of K Crochets, and I love it so much. It is bigger than what I originally thought it was going to be, even when, I mean, it's worked side to side. So I started way over here, and then I increased all the way to this center point, which is folded, of course, because there we go. So that's my center point, and then I decreased back down after that. And even when I got to the halfway point, I just didn't think it was going to be this big. I don't know why, but I love it so much. It's the perfect size. I'm not complaining about it at all. Here's what it looks like on. So this is probably how I am going to wear it. Oh my gosh, you guys, it feels amazing on. I love it so much. It's so pretty. I love my color choices. I think it's going to be perfect for the fall and winter season just because it is warm without being too hot. And I live in Alabama. I live in the South, and so it definitely gets cold here, but not as cold as a place like, I don't know, Ohio or New York or something. So it's really nice to be able to have something that will keep you warm, but also easy to take off and made of material that won't, make you overheat as fast as some others. So this cotton and linen blend is perfect. I used Crochet cotton in the colors silver, which is this, light gray. Carrera is the medium gray, and that's what is in the center here. And then Rocket is this other dark gray. It's almost bluish, so it does look a little bit blue on camera, and it definitely is. But there's more gray than blue, and I really, really like the fade. I also think it would be really beautiful if instead of doing it in a continuous fade, if you instead, so like I started here, I think it would have been really pretty if I did this section completely the same and then mirrored it on the opposite end instead of switching to a third color. I think that would look really pretty too. So I might do that for another one. I definitely plan on revisiting this pattern and making at least one more. I have some other things I'm really itching to make first, so it won't be an immediate cast on. But I think this will make such an amazing Christmas gift. So I'm definitely going to have to revisit the pattern, hopefully later this year is my plan, because I love it so, so much. Now, if you'll notice on camera, so I've talked about this little mistake before, and that is so in this section is Tunisian crochet fading. I actually created an Instagram reel on how to do this, so you can check that out on my feed. But a big section of the shawl was using this technique, and it was my first time ever doing it. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to do it again, but it can be a little bit, it's not hard to do, but it can be easy to make just a little misstep and miss one row, and that's what I did one time right here. And so I have one complete row in the dark gray instead of, you know, kind of blended between the dark and the light gray. So once I got to that same row in this section, I decided to mimic it. So, I mean, should I have done that? Maybe not. But I kind of figured that if I was going to make a mistake on this end, I wanted it to at least be symmetrical. I thought that it might look kind of intentional. And I'm glad that I did it. I don't regret it. And like I've said every week since I caught the mistake from the first place, it's not as noticeable in person as it is on camera. It's kind of impressive to me how well you can see it on camera and how, you know, little you can in person. As I was in the process of filming the reel that I mentioned for Instagram, I was like doing a little panorama of what the fading looks like when you're done. I could not find the mistake. Like, it's so hard to tell in person. I don't know. It's crazy what the camera picks up. But anyway, I love it so much. It is, I mean, I don't want to use the word perfect because I realize perfect isn't actually attainable, but I just love it so much, and I couldn't love it more. I can say that. So, super excited about it, and I can't wait to wear it. Another really fun thing is I think it's going to look super cute if I tie these ends as well. Let me just do both of them real quick and show you what I mean. So I've kind of always wanted to do this with a shawl, and I have a design of my own in mind that I'm hoping to create soon that will allow for this too. But I really love the way that the corners look tied like that in just little knots. And so if I put it back on again, you can kind of see that they just dangle, and it just has a little bit of interest. I think it's super cute. So I really, really love this project. And then this marker right here, cute little bumblebee. If I can hold it still. There we go. So this is marking where I was. So I did almost half the shawl this week, which is crazy because I've been working on this for, I don't know, probably really close to a month now. And I just did so much this week alone, but it was so nice. This was such a therapeutic project to work on, and in the midst of, you know, school and everything else going on right now, it was just such a pleasure. So I'm really eager to make a second one soon. Okay, so that is my one and only finished object. I do have some fun design finished objects to talk about that we will later, so I'm not done talking, that's for sure. And then I have a half object in works in progress, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Alrighty, so I am working on 2 works in progress this week, again, that aren't my own designs, and I'm definitely hoping to decrease and then immediately increase this number this week, which I'll chat about in a second. But first off, I have a half object, and that is my first July sock. So here's what it looks like. I believe last week, I'm trying to remember what I had done. I know I had the cuff done. I honestly don't remember if I had the leg done or not for last week's episode. I don't remember, but either way, I finished it this week. Here is what it looks like. This is an example of a sock that actually looks better on my foot versus the blocker, because it doesn't stretch out as much on the blocker as it does on my foot. So you can't see the stitch pattern as well when it's on the blocker, but it's still really, really pretty. So it's a mainly stockinette sock that has these little rectangles of garter stitch that are so cute and fun. These are the Austin socks by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. Like I mentioned, I'm knitting patterns from 2 different Kays right now, and I admire both of those women so, so much, so it's easy to get them confused. But anyway, I love this sock and this pattern and this yarn. This yarn, speaking of, is Knit Picks Hawthorne Speckle in the colorway Cosmic Speckle. It kind of reminded me of the 4th of July and just, you know, that whole month of summer. And I thought it was a really fun choice. Here's what it looks like. I think I have it somewhere around here. Yeah. Here is what the cake looks like. So it's that doesn't go there. It is a light blue base with speckles of red and pink and turquoise and navy. Super, super cute. Again, it is the colorway Hawthorne Speckle, and it'll be linked down below. So be sure to check that out if you're interested. I think it's such a fun summery color. And then Hawthorne, of course, I love, really like the twist, and I enjoy using it. So I highly recommend giving it a shot if you haven't before. I only made one big modification to this pattern, and that was that I decided to do my own pattern for my afterthought heel instead of the heel flapping gusset that was called for in the pattern. I'm just loving afterthought heels lately. They are so quick and easy, and I don't have to think about it until I go back and knit it. So I do the afterthought heel style where you place the waist yarn, so it does you think about it a little bit. But for me, it's so easy to me. So I just decided to go with that method quite a lot, and it fits my heel and everybody else's heels in my family very, very well, which is not an easy feat. So I'm sticking with it. I really love it. I definitely want to dive into other heel options soon, such as the Fish Lips heel. Whoa, wow, the Fish Lips Kiss heel. That's a pattern that I have owned for literal years, like a ridiculously long time, and I just have never sat down and read thoroughly the 15 pages. It's just so daunting, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, so I really want to learn how to knit that heel, and then of course I've done a German short row heel before, but I would love to kind of perfect that technique as well. So anyway, so much I want to learn, but for right now I'm sticking with the afterthought heel because I love it. I love the way that it looks. So that is that sock. I have not started the second one yet. Usually I like to start socks back to back, but at the same time I have not experienced second sock. Goodness, I cannot talk. Second sock syndrome. It's kind of where you knit the first sock and then you don't have the motivation to knit the second one. I have not experienced that yet. I only have one sock that is halfway done, and that is because I knit the first one because I wanted to make a tutorial for YouTube for the second one, and I just have had no time to do it yet. So that wasn't intentionally not knitting the second one. I just haven't done it yet. But anyway, so I need to knit the second sock, but it's only July 10th, and I have this first one done. So I try to do, like, the first 15 days for one sock, the second 15 or 16 or, whatever days for the second sock. So I'm still on my goal. I'm hoping to knit the full second sock this week, though. But yeah, we'll see. I love it. I think it turned out super cute, and I'm super excited to knit the second one. Okay, so that's my first work in progress. I'm gonna chunk that over there. And now my second whip is my drop VT. So I've shared this for a few weeks now. This is a pattern by Claire of Perfectly Knotted, another designer that I look up to and admire. Let me show you a pattern. No, I'm gonna not show you the pattern because this is a paid for pattern. I wanted to show you a picture, but of course, okay, here we go. So here is kind of what it looks like on Claire. It has a V-neck raglan style with drop stitches on both the sleeves and the bottom hem. I know these pictures do not do this pattern justice at all, but here is what my body looks like. So I have completely finished the body. Last week I had gone all the way to the drop stitch section. This week I did the entire drop stitch section. So in all honesty, this section gave me just a little bit of trouble. So I wasn't sure how long I wanted this shirt or tee or whatever to be in the long run. So I didn't know if I wanted to do the full, repeat the full 3 sections of drop stitches, or just 1, or just 2. And then I didn't know what bind off to do either. So after much consideration and knitting and reknitting multiple times, I decided to do the full 3 rows of drop stitches, and then I did a standard bind off. The first time I did it, I did do a stretchy bind off, and it did not work. It was comfortable when I was wearing it, but it looked really bad because it flared so much. And while I like positive ease in shirts, like you can see the shirt that I'm wearing now, it's, and there's a lot of positive ease. It's what I prefer up at the top area, meaning shirts. I prefer more negative ease in pants and things. But it just did not look right. So I decided to take it out, add another drop stitch around, and then I did a regular bind off. I have not tried it on again since then, but it already looks so much better. So I'm really, really excited about it. This week I'm hoping to finish this thing up by adding a border up at the top. I don't think the pattern calls for it, but for me it's just too big. Like you can kind of see. I mean, it's just too wide for me. So I'm just going to add a crochet slip stitch border, I think, and that's going to kind of bring everything in and make the edge look really nice. And then I will just knit the sleeves, which are super short, so it won't take long. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm really excited about all the progress that I have made. This is going to be done so soon, and then I'm going to be able to wear it, and I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to try it on. I think I'm going to block it too. I kind of vary. Sometimes I block things, sometimes I don't. For this, I think that the drop stitch section would look nicer if it was blocked, so I kind of think that's what I'm going to do. But I am aware of the fact that this will grow when it's blocked, especially lengthwise, depending on the method that I dry it. So I want to be sure to try it on before blocking and make sure, you know, everything looks right before actually wetting it and all that jazz. But really, really love this project, and it also has been so fun to work on. I'm using Knit Picks Shine Sport in the colorway Wisteria, so it's this really beautiful purple, and yeah, it's super cute, and I'm really excited to have it finished and wear it. I love it so much, so pretty. Okay, so those are my only 2 works in progress. However, I have quite a few designs to talk about, and then a couple of finished objects and new releases. There's a lot going on, and it's all super, super exciting. So let's just go ahead and chat about some designs. Okay, so like I mentioned, I'm working on quite a few designs right now, and I'm super excited about every single one of them. First off, I have a couple of new releases to show. So since last week's episode, episode 60, I've released 2 patterns. The first is the Claret coasters. Now this is a super special pattern because I did it as a guest designer on Brienne of Hooked on Homemade Happiness on her blog. So here is what they look like. Let me put them in a neat little stack so that I can show you in the full potential. Here is what they look like. So these are just simple square linen stitch coasters. It's a pattern that I've been wanting to design for quite a while, and I'm so happy that I have finally done it. And then I used the Knit Picks, or We Crochet, again they are sister companies, the Cotton Modern Desert Value Pack. So I got 5 skeins of yarn in 5 different colors, and then I just combined them in different color options for this set. So I used 2 different colors for the orange set, 2 different colors for the blues, and then I just held the green double to create this coaster, and then I just made 2 of each. So I really love the way that they look. They kind of don't match, but are all cohesive together, and I think it looks really cute. I am so excited about this pattern, and I am so honored to be featured on Brienne's blog. I have followed her and just made her patterns and followed her blog for so long. Me and my cousin, I don't know if you remember her, but I recorded an episode with Lainey quite a while ago. And she doesn't knit or crochet as much now, but she did. And when we were both very actively doing it, we were crocheting all of her patterns, and it was so much fun. And so it was awesome to be able to be featured on her blog. It's absolutely incredible. This community and just working hard, it really gets you places, and I'm so grateful for that. So anyway, so that is my new pattern. You can find it on her blog, so I will link to it down below if you want to check it out. Again, it is free, so definitely be sure to take advantage of that. And then my second pattern release is one of my own, and it's available in my shops, and it is this beautiful wall hanging. So I absolutely love the way that this turned out. It is a garter stitch wall hanging, and then it has these slip stitch details going along the center, the sides, and the top. And then along the bottom here isn't a slip stitch, but I bound off in such a way that you can kind of see the tops of the stitches still. And then I added tassels, of course, which are completely optional, but I really love the way that they look. And then I just attached it to this stick and knit an awesome strap. Let me show you the right side. There we go. So again, it has that slip stitch detail as well. And yeah, I love the way that this turned out. I used Knit Picks Brava for this project. This green is one of the 100 gram skeins in the colorway Fig. And then these 3 stripes are the Brava minis in Amethyst. No, gosh, I always get it wrong, which I'll explain why in a minute. It makes sense. So anyway, the lavender is Seraphin. And then the gray is Dove Heather. This is my favorite gray. I've made so many things with it, and it honestly has a special place in my heart because I knit a huge blanket, my avocado blanket, using that colorway, and it was such an amazing project. So I kind of will always remember that colorway. This one, the name is Seraphin. The reason I want to call it Amethyst every single time is because I have a blanket design called the Amethyst Dreams Blanket, and it uses this color. It uses the bulky weight version of this color, and so every single time I see it now, I think of Amethyst instead of Seraphin. But anyway, it's just the most beautiful lavender. It was actually my cousin's favorite color for a really long time. I'm not sure if it is anymore. But yeah, love this project, and it is so cute in my room, matches so well. And I just love the way that it looks. So I plan on putting enamel pins on mine, but of course you could also put it on, you can put earrings on it or put it in the foyer and hang keys. You could put keychains to go along with the key idea. You could decorate it with other little homemade embellishments, or you could just leave it plain. So many options for this project. And again, I really, really love the way that it turned out. So much. So much. Lots and lots of time and effort went into that design. It's been something that I've been dreaming about for a very long time, and I'm so happy and excited that it's finally out to you guys. So I hope that you love it. Now, next up is another finished object, but this isn't released yet. So I knit these socks for my brother's birthday. Can we just talk about the fact? Okay, take a little breather here. I am the literal queen of last minute. And it does not go with my personality. Like, I am somebody who likes to have a plan, who likes to know what's going to happen in advance. I am learning a lot this season. I'm just going with the flow and, you know, taking things as they come. School has taught me a lot about that. But when it comes to gifts, I put them off because I want them to be, like, just perfect and just show that person's personality in the best way, and that leads me to just put things off. So that is what I did with these. But at the same time, I knew what I wanted for so long that once it actually got started, it was smooth sailing. And they are done. Today is July 10th. I have to give them to him July 11th. Notice how I am recording this podcast on July 10th. I have not given them to him yet. They are brand spanking new, never been worn, but completely finished. I needed you to share my excitement and pride of myself for just a moment. But anyway, so I knit these socks for him. Here is what they look like. I talked about them throughout the entire week on my Instagram stories, so check into those if you're curious. I share lots of behind the scenes content in those. It's just such a fun way to communicate with you guys on a daily basis, so I highly recommend following me over there. But these socks, so first let's talk about the yarn, because I know that it's black and it's a little bit hard to see. There's a story behind this, and it all makes sense. So this is Knit Picks Shawl in the colorway Night. So it's black and white variegated. It is definitely more variegated than self-striping, but just because of the way that the colors played, it looks like self-striping, which is so fun. I really, really love that. So my brother loves soccer. It's one of his biggest passions. He's done it for, I mean, as long as I can remember. I played like one season when we all did a specific program together for soccer, and then he and my brother ventured out to another program, and then he has continued all the way up until now, and is about to start a really big season with a different complex and community. So it's a really exciting season for him, and soccer is just a really big part of his life. So I really enjoy designing things after people in my life that relate to that person and, you know, whatever their story is, but at the same time can be knit and enjoyed by other knitters as well. So I like to dedicate the pattern to that person, but make it compatible with other makers as well. So this is a good example of that. So as you can see from my brother's socks, I chose a black and white yarn that reminded me of a soccer ball. And then for the stitch pattern, which you can't see super well in this black yarn, I realize that, but these are going to be called the striker socks, and that is the position that my brother plays most often. I'm not going to pretend that I understand all of the language that goes with soccer or football if you're in the UK, but I mean, I know a little bit. I've grown up around it. So anyway, this stitch pattern kind of mimics that position just a little bit. So there are sections of garter offset by rows of stockinette. And so it kind of imitates a, player going straight forward with the maul and then being blocked by defenders. So I know that's a lot of thought that goes into one little stitch pattern, and I know that I don't expect anybody to think that as they're knitting it, but for me personally, it was just a little bit of a special way for me to communicate with Caleb through this pattern design. So here's what it looks like. I think it's showing up pretty well considering the black yarn. But as you can see, they are just rows of garter and then these little narrow stripes of stockinette. I think it's really pretty, and I really, really love the way that it turned out. And then, of course, I did my afterthought heel and toe, and I love them so much, and I think that he is too, and I can't wait to give them to him. I have a couple of other celebration ideas for him, so I'm really excited for him. He's turning 15, which is crazy. Oh, I can't believe it. But anyway, so those are those socks. Now to go along with that, I have been working on the pattern throughout this entire process, or throughout this entire week, I should say. And I'm going to be including a shorty sock version in the pattern. And so I have knit myself one shorty sock. And let me grab my blocker here so that I can show you it. So this is my personal sock. I'm making myself up here as well. And here is the stitch pattern in a lighter color yarn, so you can see it a little bit better. And this is what the shorty version is going to look like. So it has just one repeat for the leg, shorter rib, and then of course the foot is completely customizable based on your shoe size. But anyway, so both patterns are going to be included in this one pattern, and I will be doing a tester call for it soon, so stay tuned for that. Because the pattern is like pretty much ready to go, which it doesn't happen often that I get it that done as I'm making the sample. But anyway, I love it so much. I'm just so excited about this pattern, and it came together in such an amazing way, and it's really, really exciting. So here's my cute little sock. I love these guys so much. And like I said, I'm excited to give the other pair to my brother. This, by the way, is Dove Heather. I should have mentioned that earlier, but it's just a big stroll in Dove Heather. So you'll need 50 grams for the shorty pair, and then 100 grams for the larger pair. So you can kind of do any combination of that. But yeah, again, stay tuned for a tester call because it will be coming sooner rather than later. I'm kind of trying to work out all of those details, honestly, today as I'm speaking. But anyway, lots and lots of things coming up. So just trying to figure out when to release everything, but tester call will definitely be coming soon for a couple of pairs of socks. So stay tuned if that's something you're interested in. But I love this pattern, and I cannot wait to just release it and share it with the knitting community. Designing patterns after people in my life is just honestly probably my favorite thing about designing. Just being able to gain inspiration from a person, from a place, from an experience, from a location, from nature. It's just absolutely amazing. So it's super exciting. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of coffee because I'm talking a million miles a minute. I hope that you are sipping on a wonderful beverage. This is just black coffee with some milk, iced, and it's my go-to for the summer months. It's simple, it's delicious, it is delicious. What can I say? Coffee is coffee, right? Whoa, let's faceplant myself with my face. No, if I'm gonna have an injury, it will involve my face. Very bad luck in that regard. Anyways, so I do I have another design to talk about? Now I'm off track. I don't think I do. I think that is it for design talk this week. Wow, I'm working on so many things, and like I said, I am so excited about every single one of them. Lots of things are coming as well. I have, let's see, what am I working on? I have a vest pattern in mind that I want to get started on, kind of a kimono style oversized vest. I have a a shawl design that I'm working on for the fall, and then another one that I really want to release in the summertime, so I need to get on that. Yeah, lots and lots of things happening. My rainstorm sock testers are going absolutely amazingly, like so good. So that pattern is going to be released really soon as well. So yeah, lots and lots of things are exciting. Yes, they are, but lots of things are happening. That's what I'm going to say. And then I'm also going to be starting some new works in progress this week. I have a new garment that I'm going to be casting on that is unlike anything I have ever made before. And I'm a strange blend of nervous and excited about it. But I think it's going to be good. And yeah, and then Kayla of K Crochets again released a new Tunisian crochet like tank top pattern that I absolutely love. So I'm going to have to make that as well. Yeah, lots and lots of things happening. But for now, I have a devotional and a life update planned. So let's go ahead and talk about some really awesome things. So for today's devotional, I wanted to talk about a subject that is honestly near and dear to my heart, and something that I have personally struggled with in the past and am still learning, kind of coming through and learning as I go. And I just wanted to share some of the highlights that I have learned and observed over the past years, honestly. And that subject is comparison. So to me, comparison is a really interesting subject. I started struggling with this when I was about 12. I remember, so much about it and so much about what led to those thoughts and, all of those things. But then I also remember being this little, carefree child, as they say. And I remember, comparing, no pun intended, comparing the season of young childhood, just kind of going with the flow, to turning into a teenager and all of these thoughts coming and, all of those things. And comparison is a really difficult subject for a lot of people, I think. And it can be on multiple spectrums. It can be really personal, or it can be outward. It can be comparing each other's seasons or your personal self and your body, or it can be comparing somebody else's relationships to your own. There's just, you can literally compare anything. And sometimes we're taught to compare things to one another. Like, if you remember, when you were a little kid, maybe you were asked the differences between, an apple and a banana. Like, what do they have in common and what do they have different? And I think that it's so important to recognize others' differences, but it's also important to be honest with yourself and know that you are important and beautiful just the way you are, and your season is important in and of itself. One of the biggest things that I have found to kind of get out of an unhealthy bout of comparison is to be more observant through it. So comparing and observing are two completely different things, and I don't want to, confuse the two by comparing them. But at the same time, comparison has taught me to have an observant heart. And what I mean by that is, while it is not, okay to compare myself to somebody else in a lustful or unhealthy way, it is really important for me to be observant of another person's, situation and season and what they're going through. And I think that is really beautiful, and being able to turn those feelings of comparison or lust into feelings of observance, and seeing how you can connect with that person with whatever they're going through, whether that's an exciting thing or not an exciting thing, or a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's really beautiful to be able to be aware of others' situation. So I want to encourage you that if you do struggle with comparison, I want to remind you that, one, you are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. And that in and of itself is just breathtakingly amazing to me to think about every single day. And it's something that I think is really important to remind yourself of on a daily basis. And then another thing, and I wrote this directly in my show notes, and I want to read it directly from there because I'm really happy with the way that I said it, and I want it to come across exactly like that. So it says, I pray that you always remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, like I said a second ago, and that you're made after God's own image. How amazing is that? I pray that we all turn those thoughts of lust into thoughts of gratitude for what God has specifically given us. So I just pray that that brings you a little bit of encouragement today. I know it's a really big subject, and I would love to talk about it more, and my own personal experience and thoughts, and just how to overcome it in a godly way, because there's definitely a way, and I am personally still learning about it, obviously. But I think as Christians, it's really important to have those conversations and to share what we're learning with those around us, because we can all build and lift each other up. And that goes with anything, not just when God is teaching us, but also with knitting and crochet, to be in communities where you can learn from each other and grow from each other and teach and learn, even from others' mistakes, and teach others through the mistakes that you've made. It's all beautiful and worth it. So I hope that brought a little bit of encouragement today. And then to flow right into a life update, it has been a busy week. We currently have a family in town, which is super fun, but adds, a little bit more craziness, but in the best way, to life in general. I've had a couple of weeks, or a week and a half exactly, off of work, which I am a babysitter. I have been very committedly babysitting for one very, very special family that I'm so grateful for recently, and so it has definitely become a full-on part-time job, and I'm so grateful for it. I've prayed for it for so long, and it's hard, I'm not gonna lie. It's absolutely exhausting daily, but it's so worth it, and I love those little girls so, so much. But anyway, so that's been crazy. It's picked back up. They were on their trip for a week, and so now it's picking back up again. But I was able to use that time off to spend a lot more time on school, so I am way ahead, which feels so good. I am now more determined and committed than ever to just make a lot of progress and finish classes early, and for the first time this whole semester, I think it's actually possible to do that. We're actually going to have more family in town finals week, because, timing is awesome. But I'm trying really hard to not affect that trip too much with finals. So anyway, it's a crazy season, but it's been a really good season, and this week especially has been really, really good and productive, and I'm just really, really grateful for that. So I hope you are all also having an amazing week, and if you are, I pray that it turns around super fast, and always remember that God's got you. There's always something to be grateful for, and I encourage you to always, always look for that thing. I hope, again, that you're having an amazing week. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to check out all of those awesome links in the description box below. And let me know in the comments what you are working on this week, because I want to hear all about it. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you all next time. Bye.